Hey, we're live. I haircut. I'm still trying to grow my mustache, and it's still going very, very slowly. And we in here. We in here for week 11. Week 11 NFL picks. Can't wait. I feel it's finally now socially acceptable again to wear Packers gear, which is very nice, a very good feeling. And they can win football games, so now I can wear the hoodie again. All right. Let's see. We're going to hop on to our good friend Twitter. You're vulnerable to fake websites. Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. We're going to grab our link here. Tweet. Boom. Stream now live. Yes. Perfect. Close everything except that. Bingo, bango. All right. What can we shut off? We can shut that off. And the rest of that stuff's fine. All right. So, week 11, we got another 14 game slate, and we are going to waste very, very little time in getting going here. We already have Gorian in the chat from before the stream started saying Colts money line single long shot 10 wins 40. Are the Colts really 4-1 dogs in that game? I suppose they probably are. I suppose some books. And Patriots, Niners, KC locks. Interesting. Not sure about at least one of those, but we'll talk about it. We'll see where we're at. All right. Audacity. Move this over here. We're once again going to skip the update because the heck with updates, apparently. And we'll start recording. Oh, that audio sounds crisp. That looks good. Okay. What needs to be changed here? That. Did you know, like, basically, if you really wanted to simplify this whole sports betting thing, all you really have to do, or all you've really had to do this year, is basically bet the dogs and bet the under. We only are hitting like under 44% for favorites and under 43% for overs so far this year. So, I mean, honestly, you might as well just, like, if you really want to make it easy, if you really want to simplify the whole thing, just bet the dog and bet the under. Like that. Just if you want to make it as easy as humanly possible. Sorry here, folks. I just have to finish up one more little thing here before we get going. All right. Oh, perfect. That's actually really good. So let's see. We were that. And we were that. Copy. That goes over here. That was that. And that was that. Sweet. Come back here. This is all gibberish. Like, this is all gibberish to anybody, basically, that's listening. But, you know, we do what we can. And all that, I think, stays the same. 276? Yeah. All right. Sweet. That's all the same. This changes Y1. Just a couple little things I was lazy and didn't do yesterday. Okay. We are ready to roll. Can't believe anybody watches this. Oh, my hot photo here. Oh, I bet it is. We're going to put you in timeout. and go ahead and report that for that. Awesome. Sweet. Uh, if the live chat is enabled, maybe somebody might be able to see what that was. Brian Stafora, good back-to-back weeks. Absolutely. On the CFL side, reminding you, I told you Bo Levi would be heading to Hamilton. Hey, look, it's funny. I said it in we have a CFL group chat with some of the true degens of the CFL community. We got Smitty, we got Dave Millhouse, we've got TK, we got Keebs, a number of people that are pretty visible in the community. And I said it on the 19th of October. I was like, I'm going to fantasy book some of the CFL quarterback movement. And I was like, Bo to Hamilton just makes sense. And then, a few weeks later, they're like, oh, yeah, we traded for his rights. I was like, sweet. Like, it's nice to have a feel for stuff like that. Okay. So without further ado, let's get rolling here. 83 and 1. Yeah. All right, cool. Wanted to make sure my math was right on that before we went ahead. All right. Time for the ever lovely countdown that, of course, you know and love, and for some reason has become a staple of this show. In 5, 4, 3. What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, fueled as always by the incredible folks at Nerd Tees, and welcome to week 11 of my weekly NFL football pick show for the 2022 NFL season and postseason. And we had ourselves another fairly solid week. I did take a bit of a step backwards against the spread, but kind of made up for it with the total plays, which was nice. It was not a banner week by any means, not even as good as like the previous two, but I'm still going to consider it a fairly solid week. So straight up, I wound up going 8-6 last week, 86, 63, and 1 on the season overall. It's a little bit over 57%. Against the spread, like I say, took a little bit of a step back, was only 5-9 against the spread last week, which obviously you want to be better than that. You want to be closer to 500. You want to be above 500. Ideally, you want to be 9-5. You want to be the exact opposite of that. But sometimes down weeks happen. I'm not going to get too wrapped up in it. Like I mentioned, I did kind of get it back on the totals. I went on a hot run towards the end of the week and wound up 9-5 on my totals. So a 9-5 week on the totals means I'm now 76-74 for the season on the totals in the 150 games that we've played so far. So back up 2 games over 500 on the totals, and I'm likely to hover there for much of the season. But as of right now, we're looking decent. Platinum, gold, silver, and bronze picks. So my top plays from last week. Decent week, 7-5. The bronze pick, I went 2-1, which means I'm 18-11-1 on the season right now in the bronze pick. The Niners beat the Chargers. The Texans failed to cover against the spread, but Detroit and Chicago did go over on the total. Silver pick, which has been my strongest pick on the season so far. Actually, my weakest one in week 11. Only 1-2 on that one. I'm 19-11 now on the season there. Miami beat Cleveland, but Jacksonville didn't cover against the spread. I think they got half pointed. And Indy and the Raiders failed to stay under their point total. And with the gold and the platinum, I went 2-1 in both cases. The gold pick now 16-13-1. The platinum pick 18-11-1. In the gold pick, the Chiefs beat the Jags and the Colts covered against the spread, but Minnesota and Buffalo failed to stay under. Obviously, they got over 60 points going into overtime. And in the platinum pick, the Giants beat the Texans. Dallas failed to cover against the spread, losing that game outright against these guys. And Denver and Tennessee staying under the point total. So overall, 7-5, solid week. I will take it. What I will really take is the movement that I had in the Bridgewater's finest straight up pick'em pool. Now, I've been hovering at like 15th, 16th, 18th place for the last like 3-4 weeks. It feels like took a big jump last week In week 10, I jumped up to 7th place out of 36 in that pool. Now 736 out of 1,206 confidence points. It's exactly 61% on the season. I did that by bringing in 68 of 105 possible confidence points, 64.8%, which was in fact good enough to win week 10. So I win week 10 outright at 8-6, 68 of 105 confidence points, 64.8%. 2 thumbs up for this guy, the first week this season that I win in the Pick'em pool. AIM 2022 remains the overall leader in that pool at 90, 59, and 1, 776 out of 1,206 confidence points. So I'm only 40 points behind. It's 64.3%. It is still anybody's game, and I made a big leap in week 10, which felt great. We'll take a peek now into Fantasy Corner, which is, of course, brought to you by the Dynasty Trade Calculator. And my affiliate link to the DTC is in the description below. And for as little as $3, you can gain access to one of the absolute best resources online for Dynasty, Keeper, and long-term fantasy football. You're looking at trade evaluations, player rankings, podcasts, tons of great experts dropping dime on no matter what configuration your league is in. If it's Dynasty, if it's Keeper, just long-term fantasy, you got a tight end premium, you play super flex or just 2 quarterback. There is all kinds of great information available to you on the Dynasty Trade Calculator. Check out my affiliate link and get started today for as little as a cup of coffee. Now, in the Professionals Dynasty, I did drop the game last week to Chris, moving my record to 1-9 and basically snuffing out any chance of me making the playoffs in that league. I think I would have to win out and get some help for the rest of the fantasy regular season. So I'm kind of got my eyes on next season there, unfortunately. Look, I had some injuries. I had players underperform, and I'm just going to take this year as a rebuilding year. With every rebuild, there's a little bit of a debuild. I traded out Devontae Adams. Making moves. So we're looking at next year in the dynasty, but we're still not giving up every single game. Like in week 11, I got a close matchup against Keith, which if I do want to make the playoffs and win out, he's one of the teams I have to leapfrog. So right now that's projected too close to call, but I believe I do have a slight advantage. So we'll see what happens in week 11. In the Ante & Co. Dynasty League, I pulled up a loss against Cat, and it was a big one. Like, Cat served me a knuckle sandwich all friggin' week. So that dropped me down to 5-5. I'm still 6th place in that pool. So I'm still like relatively, like kind of comfortably within the playoffs right now, and certainly in the playoff conversation. I got a week 11 matchup against Steven Doc Love, who I think is one of the top teams in the league, Demolitia. And we'll have to see what happens there. I believe he's the favorite in that one, but I think that one's pretty marginal as well. I think it's within a few points, so anything can certainly happen. And I'll take this opportunity, as I always do, to remind you that if you go to the description of this live stream or of the VOD after the fact of the episode of the podcast, wherever you get this show, you can find all of my results from last week, all of my straight up against the spread and over under plays for week 11 in the NFL. You can find information on joining the Bridgewater's Finest Pick'em Pool for season 11 of this show. Get yourself shouted out on this show if you do win a week. You can get information on joining the NFL YouTube Prognosticators Facebook page, and you can find information on my great friends and sponsors at Nerd Tees. Ladies and gentlemen, Nerd Tees is, of course, where you need to go to find dozens and dozens of incredible loose leaf tea blends and accessories, and dozens and dozens now of incredible coffee blends as well. Flavored coffee blends, just runs the gamut of any flavor palette, and taking that step into coffee, I think, was a great step in the right direction for the folks at Nerd Tees. You're going to want to use my promo code, which is BW Finest. That's going to save you 15% at checkout. You're going to get free shipping in Canada on any order over $100. And if you're one of my viewers in the United States, you're of course going to get a great conversion rate on the US dollar. Now, today's blend is blueberry, a Nova Scotia classic. I absolutely love me some blueberry tea, and that's what we're enjoying this evening while we talk about some Week 11 NFL. You can find something to enjoy while you talk about the NFL on nerdtees.ca. You're going to want to use that promo code BWFinest, get your free shipping, save your 15%, find yourself something to love, or find someone you love something to love. You can do it on nerdtees.ca. All right. We got Martin in the chat. Martin, you passed me up in your pool, Justin. Congrats. Thank you very much. I'm happy you won your own pool. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I consider myself fairly good at pick'em, but like I've also attracted killers in this pool. I've attracted very, very good pick'em players. So it's pretty fun actually when I wind up winning a week. It doesn't happen all the time. It's happened less and less frequently over the years because you just keep getting better and better, more experienced players in there. But it's always a little bit special when you win a week in your own pool. All right. So before we move on, let's just take a quick peek here. Go group picks for week 10. Like, it was very, very close last week. Return of the Crack and Fourth and Ridiculous were only 2 points behind me. A Hunt was only 8 points behind me. Dan the Sports Fan was only 10 points behind me. So it was a very, very close week in week 10, but your boy got the job done. Martin, the Commanders and Eagles contributed to me not getting your 14. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I think a lot of people, myself included, were very heavy on the Eagles in that game, and I mean, they were probably going to lose sometime. The Eagles didn't reek to me of the 72 Dolphins, but they had to lose a game sometime. A division game, I guess, kind of makes sense. TJ Harmon in the chat now. Hey, Justin, I'm here. Eagles got cheated. Interesting. I honestly, I'll be perfectly transparent. I was kind of in and out watching the game last night. I was quite tired, so I don't know specifically what you're talking about there, but feel free to fill me in. Oh, blatant face mask. Oh, you know what? You're talking about the play at the end with Heineke? Yeah, that I did see. That was baby lotion soft. That was awful. That was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Like, I don't even think he intentionally took a knee. It looked to me like he slipped. So I mean, boy, that's just me. That's my take on it. It kind of looked to me like he just slipped. But in any case, the concept of that being roughing the passer, no. Like, sorry. Like, play flag, right? Like, just maybe this isn't for you. It's bizarre. Anyway, what we do is we take what happened in week 10, we push it to the side, we move along. We got a 14 game slate here in week 11, and let us waste no more time with the wonderful green journal that tells us all things good. Hopefully, all things victorious as well. Let's get started here in week 11 with the Thursday night game, which is the Tennessee Titans on the road in Green Bay taking on my Green Bay Packers. Now, Green Bay obviously picking up the win, breaking that, I think it was 5-game losing streak going into that one. Green Bay gets the win over Dallas. Christian Watson with a absolute star-making performance of 3 touchdown catches in that game. And that was after a drop or two early in the game. And I loved listening to Aaron Rodgers talk about that because he kind of grabbed him up on the sideline and was just like, hey, swallow that because I'm coming back to you. So just to have that interaction and to kind of in a very Aaron Rodgers type of way for a rookie to be able to go like, well, I guess he trusts me and I better make the most of this opportunity. And that was exactly what he did. 3 touchdowns, and he was the difference. He was the reason that the Packers wound up winning that game. They made the defensive plays at the end when they needed to, but he really wound up being the reason why they won. And look, this is a Packers team that is bottom 10 right now in scoring offense in the NFL. Scoring defense, they're kind of middle of the pack when I think the expectation was that this defense was going to be very good to great. I think this is a pretty good defense, but I don't think they're necessarily a great defense. They're taking on a team here in the Tennessee Titans who are very much the same. They're also bottom 10 in the league in terms of scoring offense, but where the difference here is, and where I think the difference in this game is going to be, is on the defensive side. And in terms of points on the board v points not on the board, the Tennessee Titans are the better football team. They're the better scoring defense. And just because Green Bay did it once, like, this season's kind of got me a little bit shell shocked here. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do from here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I feel exceptionally confident in them doing it the very next week. It's also on a short week, obviously, where it's going to be played on Thursday. It looks like Christian Watson is fine. He did have the questionable tag yesterday, but that was taken away. I think yesterday was only like an assumed, like a walkthrough practice or something like that. What I did want to point out about this Tennessee Titans team is they are a very good road team over the last few years, including, I believe, the 2019 season up to now. I think there's something like 10 games above 500 on the road. So there's a very good, one of the better road teams in the NFL over that span. I like the Tennessee Titans in this spot. I've got to see Green Bay do it with more consistency before I'm going to start feeling real comfortable, because it would be very easy for me. They're my team. It would be very easy for me to fall back into just, Green Bay, don't even think about it mode. So I'm holding myself back from that. I think the Tennessee Titans are the better football team, and I think Tennessee gets the win here. So I'm going to take the Titans on the road in Green Bay to get the win over the Packers. On the line, Green Bay are laying 3 points here as a home favorite. Makes perfect sense to me. But since I'm going to be taking Tennessee, I'm going to be more than happy to take the 3 points on the Titans. Total in this game is set at 41. And once again, I think it's the Titans defense that comes to play in this one. Neither one of these offenses has been lighting things on fire. There's our phone call. It's a very beatable number. Ooh, good job. Very quick answering that phone. Kudos to the person that lives with me. So 41 points. I'm going to take the under on it. Like, it's such a beatable number, but I'm going to go ahead and grab that under 41 points in Tennessee, Green Bay. Let's go Tennessee 20, Green Bay 17. So Titans win, Titans cover, obviously, and give me the under on the points. Gorian's loving that Colts money line. Loving that Colts money line. Like, I felt good about picking the Colts to win last week and it actually coming true. That's an old tip from Martin, by the way. So tip of the hat to my good friend Martin in the chat here, who really always hammered home that, like, teams that fire their coach, they bring in that new coach, they win that first game. And it seems to happen a lot. So tip of the hat to my good friend Martin, because he brought that one. He brought that one to me. Brian, Tennessee to win. I like it. Thumbs up. Let's go to Atlanta now. The Chicago Bears in town to take on Atlanta. Falcons coming into this game on the long week, having played on Thursday night last week. Chicago, a 3-game losing streak, but Justin Fields continues to just light this league on fire. He's doing it with his arm, and he's really doing it with his legs. He is an absolute monster running the football from the quarterback position. I don't know, like, other than Lamar Jackson and maybe Patrick Mahomes, there might not be a better rushing quarterback in the NFL right now, because Justin Fields has been lighting it up. Now, this is a battle of two teams that are exceptionally similar. Neither one of these offenses are huge. Like, neither one of them light the league on fire, with the exception of Justin Fields himself. And in terms of scoring defense, they both rank in the bottom 10 in the NFL in terms of scoring defense. So I think this is a game where you're going to see a lot of points. I think this is a matchup of two very similar teams, I should say. And in that, I think I got to lean on the dog here. The dogs are just hitting so often this year, certainly against the spread, but even just winning their games outright. I kind of like the Bears in this spot. I think they have more offensive weapons. I think they certainly are getting much better play from the quarterback position. I think that's what winds up determining this game, deciding this game, is the quarterback matchup. And there's just very few people right now that can touch what Justin Fields is producing on the field. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Chicago Bears. and take the Bears to win outright in Atlanta. Bears beat the Falcons. Against the spread, Atlanta is laying 3 points here as a home favorite. Once again, makes perfect sense to me. But since I'm on the Bears to win the game outright, give me the +3 on Chicago. Total in the game set at 50.5 points. So obviously Vegas is expecting a lot of points here as well. I think this is a pretty darn good number, but I'm still going to take the over on it. I think these are two offenses that are capable of putting up points. The defenses have been nothing special this year. So give me the over on the 50.5 point total in Chicago, Atlanta. Let's go Bears 27, Falcons 20, 27-24 seems so predictable, but I think that's what we're going to go with. 27-24 Bears. Bears win, Bears cover, and give me just barely, give me the over on the points. Gorian, I got eagled last night. Yeah. Boy, or rather I had the Eagles last night. You and me both. Like, I mean, so many people would have wound up losing a bunch. Oh my goodness. Speak of the devil. My boy Dave Millhouse in the chat right now with the flaming heart emoji. How you doing, Dave? Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. So Dave is one of the aforementioned folks, and he can attest to it in the CFL group chat that we have, where we were talking about the quarterback carousel in the CFL. And I said it on October 19th. I said Bo Levi Mitchell to Hamilton. And again, like to Brian's point, I wasn't the only one that was saying it. Brian was saying it too. But Dave's in that chat. He can attest that I did, in fact, say that that's where Bo was going to go. All right, the Cleveland Browns traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills obviously sour from losing that game against Minnesota. I mean, that game, that Minnesota-Buffalo game, that has to be one of the games of the year to this point in the season. And is there anybody that wouldn't like to see that game again for the Super Bowl? Because I certainly would. Like, those two teams are so exciting, so electrifying, and Minnesota is playing such good football right now that it's just awesome to watch. And I think the poor Cleveland Browns are going to have to face the wrath of a Buffalo Bills team that is exceptionally upset about how things went last week. Buffalo obviously still top 5 scoring offense, top 5 scoring defense in the NFL so far this year. The Browns are scoring their points. They're a top 10 scoring offense. Not going to take that away from them, but this defense is leaky. This defense cannot stop anybody. Bottom 5 scoring defense. The Browns are also on the tail end of back-to-back road games, which, as we've talked about this season, those teams are not faring very well either straight up or against the spread. Obviously, you know how I'm going on this one. I like the Buffalo Bills in a big, bad way here to get back on track and pick up a pretty dominant, actually, home win against an inferior team in the Cleveland Browns. Now, once Deshaun Watson is the quarterback there again, I don't necessarily think you can talk about the Browns as an inferior team against as many teams. But I don't think that's happening this week, because I think there would be a bigger story there. TJ in the chat, there's going to be a possible blizzard in Buffalo on Sunday. Very interesting. Very interesting. I had not heard about that. So that could certainly impact things. I think Buffalo is more used to playing in weather like that. Although, I mean, like, Cleveland's not exactly so far south that they would never have to deal with it. But that's interesting. I appreciate that. That might actually adjust something later on in this pick. I still like the Bills to win this game in what should be a walk. So Buffalo's laying 8.5 points here. And there's not a lot of teams right now with how prevalent the dogs have been this year, with how prevalent the lack of prevalence of betting favorites even covering against the spread. We just talked about it. I think it was like 44% or something like that. There's not a lot of teams I would lay this many points on right now. The Buffalo Bills are one of them, especially against a defense that can't really stop anybody. So I'm going to lay those points on Buffalo, -8.5. I don't see how this isn't a double-digit win for the Bills. So let's lay the 8.5 and not worry too much about it. And actually, what we're going to do here is Bills over Browns. I'm going to make that my platinum pick straight up this week. So Bills over Browns, platinum pick straight up. And actually, Buffalo minus 8.5. I'm going to make that my bronze pick against the spread as well, because I feel really confident about them covering that number. So Bills beating Cleveland, platinum pick straight up. Bills covering minus 8.5. Bronze pick against the spread. Now, total in the game set at 43.5, and this could explain because just yesterday, this total was 47. And I actually liked it going over the 47 point total, but that's going to explain why this number is now a 43.5. Because I'm who died? Like, how did this number drop 3.5 points in like 24 hours? But that would go ahead and explain it. The good information there from TJ, supposed to start Friday and last until Sunday. 43.5 is still a pretty beatable number if you can play football at all, right? Like if you can actually have two teams that can get on the field and actually play a football game, and with the talented offenses that both of them have, 43.5 still feels like a beatable number to me. I don't love this play anymore because of the weather question. I think I'm still going to take this over. But this one's a coin flip. This one's marginal for me. So I think I'll still take the over, but I fully understand if this winds up not hitting. So we're going to go over 43.5 points in Buffalo, Cleveland. Let's go Bills 27. Bills 27, Browns 17. Feel reasonable? Buffalo wins. Buffalo covers the minus 8.5, and it just barely gets over that 43.5 point total. We'll go 27-17. Dave says, too bad we couldn't bet it. Yeah, too bad we couldn't bet what the result of that would have been. That would have been an interesting thing for a sports book to put out, like basically pick and choose where quarterbacks are going to go, like parlay it even and give you stiff odds, but it would have been interesting. TG, yeah, possible blizzard, supposed to start Friday, last till Sunday. Gorian, he's knack against Houston in Houston. I'm not sure what that means, Gorian. Deshaun Watson. Oh, right. That's right. He does come back against Houston, and yeah, right. That's whenever anybody says that pro sports like this aren't booked like professional wrestling, they absolutely are. Because that's right. I forgot that his first game back is in Houston against Houston, because some men just like to watch the world burn. TJ says 21-13 for Buffalo. I can understand that, but we're going to go a little bit higher on this one. Delicious nerd teas. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts obviously getting off the schneid, getting that win last week in Jeff Saturday's coaching debut, which again was fantastic. I don't know how I feel about the Jeff Saturday hiring. I mean, certainly it started off fine because, again, tip of the hat to my good friend Martin for that notion about brand new coaches winning their coaching debut. It'll be interesting to see how that continues on. I did see that Shaq Leonard is going to have back surgery. He's officially done for the year. So that's definitely a shot against that Colts defense. And if the Colts have anything kind of going for them that makes them anything at all special, it might be on the defensive side, although they are dealing with another injury, an injury to Kwity Paye, who has had a good season so far this year. He's dealing with an ankle injury, so 50-50 whether he plays this week as well. The Eagles have to deal with the short week because they just played last night. Still a top 5 scoring offense, still a top 5 scoring defense. Have to be ticked off, obviously, about the way things went down last night. It is a situation where I do expect the Eagles to bounce back, and I do expect the Eagles to win this game, but I don't expect them to win this game in the same kind of blowout notion that I did with the Buffalo Bills. Like, the Bills are pissed, and I think they're going to act on that. The Eagles are pissed, but I just don't think I don't know. I just don't I don't love a blowout in this spot. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the Eagles to win this game. I'm gonna take Philadelphia in Indy to beat the Colts. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna hedge my bets here against the spread. And I believe a number of people are doing this. So the Indianapolis Colts, with their bottom 5 scoring offense this season, I do think keep this game within a touchdown. So I'm gonna take the +6.5 on the Indianapolis Colts. And what that does do is it does insulate against the upset, which we do certainly appreciate. Total in this game set at 44.5. I got to feel the under in this one. I think the Colts defense plays well. I think the Eagles defense has a bounce back game. So give me the under 44.5 in Philadelphia, Indianapolis. Let's go Eagles 20, Colts 17. We'll go 2017 or 21-17. Sorry. 21-17 Eagles. Philly wins. Indianapolis covers, and give me the under on the points. Gorian, 11, bro, not 6.5. Proline. Does Proline have that game at 11 points? That's disgusting. Or you Colts money line, but Colts money line, I get that, but man, almost every book that I've looked at, even yesterday, had this at a 7 point, and then when I just looked at a couple earlier, most that I saw had a 6.5. Wow, Proline, whew, Proline really does not think much of the Colts, do they? That's crazy. Have a unit. That's awesome, man. Look, I I am more than willing to be wrong about this game so that you can have a big win like that. I would rather be wrong than you not win. Like I would rather be wrong. That's my gift to you. I hope you're right on that one. All right, AFC East matchup here. The New York Jets on the road in New England to take on the Patriots. Now, the Jets are coming into this game off their bye, so they're going to be well rested. They don't like the offense has been kind of middle of the road this year. The Jets defense, I still think not enough people are talking about the Jets defense. The Jets have a top 10 scoring defense in the NFL. And you don't have a lot of Jets seasons where you can say that, where you can say that their defense, regardless of opponent, the fact that their defense is actually playing well and is preventing points on the board. It's not something that happens very often with New York. Now, you can say much the same thing with the Patriots. Offense, I would say, is average, top 10 scoring defense in the NFL. They're also coming into this game off of their bye. So we do have equal rest in this matchup. Neither one of these teams played last week. Obviously, divisional opponent and know each other exceptionally well. I don't think either one of these teams in the grand scheme of things is a big threat, like to make a big playoff push or to certainly to do any damage in the playoffs. But again, I think they're relatively equal. There are certain things I think New England is better at. There's certain things that I think the Jets are better at. Equal teams, equal rest. Give me the underdog in the divisional matchup. I'm going to take the New York Jets on the road in New England to get the win over the Patriots. Jets get the upset win, my third upset so far in these picks. Jets beat the Patriots. On the line, the Patriots are laying 3.5 points as a home favorite. So in order to take this, you do have to buy that extra hook, that extra half point. So I think one way or the other, I think taking the Jets plus 3.5 here is probably the way to go against the spread. But since I like them to win the game outright, obviously, give me the plus 3.5 on New York. Total in this game set at 38.5 points. I think this is a pretty darn good number, but I think I'm going to lean over on this. This is more of a gut play than anything else. It's such a beatable number. And I do think these teams, despite the fact that their defenses do tend to be the main event, again, it's such a beatable number. I think we're going to go ahead and grab the over here. Let's go Jets 23, Patriots 21. So Jets win, Jets cover, and give me the over on the 38.5. TJ Sauce Gardner is a stud. Yes, he is. That dude can play some football. Let's see. Took New England money line. Oh, Cat's here. Cat's here. Awesome. Oh, actually, I think I missed something from I missed something from Martin. Saturday's only an interim coach. Glad I took the Colts over the Raiders too. Colts have other coaches. People thought Saturday would coach the whole team. It's true. It's true. It's not like he's the unilateral person back there making all the decisions. Gorian says too, we're better with Leonard. Trade him ASAP. Get back some value. Gonna be tough now after the surgery. Let's see. Gorian took New England money line because the Jets lost at home. TJ says 23-20. So even TJ thinks take the plus 3.5 on the Jets. Oh, 23-20 Jets. There you go. Love it. Kat is in the chat and says, "Hey, Justin, I can actually attend this time. Welcome, welcome. Have you told the crowd about the double-digit spread thing that's been happening lately? I haven't because I wanted to leave it for you. In my heart and soul, I felt like you would be here. So please, in the chat and in the chat replay for the folks who will watch this after the fact, please let them know about the double-digit thing. And use the same conviction that I use when I talk about the rule of 4. I can only hope for everyone to have something in their life that they believe in as much as I believe in the rule of 4. All right. While Kat does that in the chat, we are going to go to New Orleans, where the Los Angeles Rams are in New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Rams come into this game on a 3-game losing streak, a bottom 5 scoring offense in the NFL so far this season. The defense has been decent, but for the second time, we got to talk about an injury, and it's one of the absolute biggest that could possibly come from a game like this. That's Cooper Kupp. High ankle sprain. It is going to require surgery. I think either Schefter or Rappaport confirmed that earlier today. So, with that being the case, that's minimum 4 to 6 weeks, especially where it has to be repaired surgically. And if that's the case, like, do the Rams bother bringing him back at any point this season? Would they rather do that or have him certainly be 100% for the start of next year? Like, it's question marks, questions that I'm glad they're questions I don't have to answer. The Saints come into this game. Their scoring offense is average. Scoring defense is actually bottom 10 in the NFL, which I think would be a bigger deal against a team whose offense was A, intact, and B, playing better than the Rams offense is right now. So I really got to go with the Saints here. I think they're relatively full strength. I don't think there's a significant injuries on the Saints side of this game. So give me the Saints at home. Let's take New Orleans to beat the LA Rams. On the line, the Saints are laying 4 points here as a home favorite. It's under a touchdown. I have no idea what this Rams offense is going to look like. They can't run the football. They're not committed to it, and they can't seem to do it. And now one of the biggest weapons in football is no longer there. So I have no idea what this offense is going to look like. So, give me the 4 points. Anything under a touchdown there, honestly, I'd probably lay on the Saints. Total in this game set at 38.5 points. This is one of the ones that I feel exceptionally good about. Give me the under in this game because I think you might see some defense from the Rams side. Who knows what either one of these offenses is going to look like. So give me the under 38.5 there. And I like that so much that Rams Saints under 38.5 points is going to be my bronze pick on the totals this week. Rams Saints under 38.5, my bronze pick on the totals. So give me, let's go 21-14. 21-14 for the Saints. Saints win, Saints cover, and give me the under on the points. Martin, the rule of 4 struck last week twice with 8 upsets. I love that. Kat now has 4 consecutive messages in the chat. And here we go. I will read it for your listening pleasure. Hello, my beautiful chat. It's a half joke I made a few years ago, and the Chiefs were favored by more than 20 points. Of course, they did blow out their opponent, but it did start a trend afterwards. There was a series of games where teams who were favored by more than 10 points did not cover those points, some of which losing outright altogether. I bring this up now because since week 7, we've had 7 such games and only one team covered that spread. So double-digit spreads, no likey. And we had an instance of that literally just last night. The Eagles were, I think, 10.5-point favorites when I got the number. Granted, that's early in the week, but they were big favorites. Not only did they not cover, they lost the game outright. And big favorites are just not paying off this year. So Cat's on to something there, and I'm glad that they're so vigorous about making sure that everybody understands what's going on. Back for some more tea. Cat chimes in again. That heavily leaned into me picking the Commanders in the upset last week. I'm so happy I took that pick. Absolutely. Like, that's a savviest of savvy plays right there. And that worked out for you big time. All right. The Detroit Lions traveling to New York to take on the Giants. The Lions are on the tail end of back-to-back road games here, which obviously we talked about before. Teams aren't exactly doing very well in that context. The Lions are still rocking that glass cannon perspective. They're a top 10 scoring offense in the league so far and a bottom 5 scoring defense. So obviously a copious amount of points can be scored at the to the detriment of the Detroit Lions. On the Giants side, kind of a middling offense. Like, they can score some points, but of course they're not lighting the scoreboard on fire by any means, but they can play some defense, a top 10 scoring defense in the NFL so far this year. And it's just very difficult for me, even though the Lions have won, I think, back-to-back games now. I think 2 straight games Detroit has come up and won. You still just can't feel comfortable riding with them, can you? Like, there's just still so many things that this team does so poorly that it's tough to fully gain confidence in them. So I'm going to take the Giants here. I think this is an excellent spot for New York to get another win and keep things competitive now in that NFC East, where all of a sudden the Eagles aren't unbeatable anymore. So give me the Giants in this one. New York gets the win over Detroit. And actually, I like that so much. I'm going to take the Giants over the Lions as my silver pick straight up this week. Giants over Lions, silver pick straight up. Against the spread, the Giants are only laying 3 points here as a home favorite. I like them to win. It's a fairly small price to pay. So I'm going to go ahead and lay those 3 points as well. And the Giants -3 is going to be my gold pick against the spread this week. Giants -3. Gold pick against the spread. Total in this game set at 46.5. This is a weird one for me. I want to snap call and take the over because the Lions scoring defense is so bad. You know, there's just going to be points by osmosis in this game. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be points where you don't even really know where those points came from. But I think the Giants can shut this Lions offense down. And then it's a matter of, like, are the Giants going to run up the score? Probably not. I'm actually going to take the under here. It's a middle 40. It's a beatable number. Don't get me wrong, but I think I'm going to lean under on this one. Let's go under 46.5 points in New York, Detroit. Let's go Giants 23. Let's go 23-17. 23-17 for the Giants. Giants win. Giants cover -3 and give me the under on the point total. Chad Suska is in the chat. Chad, hello from Chad from Regina, Saskatchewan. Nice weather I bring for the Grey Cup. Awesome. Rams issues. Sorry, Philly. We drank too much from 7-0. How's my new few buddy? Good to hear from you. Do you think I'm a Newfoundlander? I'm not. I'm from Nova Scotia. I don't know if that's what you were going for there, but I mean, we're close. It's only like an hour and a half flight, so it's pretty close. But yeah, no, I'm a Nova Scotian, not a Newfoundlander. I don't know if that's what you were going for there, but that's really funny. I take that as a great compliment, actually. That the Newfoundlanders are wonderful people. I take that as a compliment. All right, we are halfway home in the picks, so let us keep going here. The Carolina Panthers in Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and this is the single biggest line of the week. Listen up, Cat. Single biggest line of the week at minus 12.5 in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. So, Carolina, we're talking about a team that's coming in with the benefit of the long week because they did just play on Thursday, so they do have a little bit of extra rest coming into this one. They are a bottom 10 scoring offense and a bottom 10 scoring defense. So not a ton of points. They do allow a good chunk. I guess I get where this number comes from because the Ravens do certainly score points. They're a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They're coming off their bye, so they're going to be very well rested and should be relatively healthy. So I understand where this number comes from, and I certainly like the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. So we'll get that out of the way nice and quick. I like Baltimore to get the win here over Carolina. In saying that, I think Chuba Hubbard's going to be healthy for this game, which means the Panthers will have both of their running backs available to them, both Chuba Hubbard and Donta Foreman. They can move Donta Foreman back to that third down back slash short yardage second down back slash pass catching back, which I think makes him more dangerous. Because if he plays a few fewer snaps, he's not getting like a full complement of snaps. I genuinely think it makes Donta Foreman more dangerous. And Chuba Hubbard is a good runner. He's a good runner of the football. So it makes their offense more dangerous. They can do more things with both of those backs available. I don't know, man. 12 and a half points. It's just gross. The favorites are just not doing what favorites normally do. Brian Stafora, got to go supper time. I'll catch the replay. Brian, thank you so much for being in the chat early on here. So look, obviously I like Baltimore to win here, but I'm going to take those 12 and a half points with Carolina. It's not great. Like it's the number is not totally unjustified. Teams are just not covering numbers like these. Yes, blowouts are happening, but not necessarily in games that they're supposed to happen. So I definitely like Baltimore to win, but give me the plus 12 and a half on the Carolina Panthers. Total in the game set at 43 and a half points, and part of this plays into it too. I don't think we're going to see a ton of points in this game. So I'm going to be on the under in this one, even though it's a game that has one of the top 5 scoring offenses in the NFL. I still think we're going to be under on this point total. So give me under 43 and a half points in Baltimore, Carolina. So Panthers plus 12 and a half. I like that so much. That's actually going to be my silver pick against the spread this week. Panthers plus the 12 and a half points, silver pick against the spread. And the total in this one, the 43 and a half, under on the 43 and a half. That's going to be my silver pick on my totals. Under 43 and a half points in Carolina, Baltimore. So let's go. What's a reasonable score here? Let's go like 24-17. We'll go 24-17. So Ravens are still going to score their points. Don't get me wrong. 24-17. Baltimore wins. Carolina covers the plus 12 and a half, and we stay under on the point total. 24-17, Ravens win. Let's see. Chad, Baltimore win. Cat, it absolutely makes me sick. But because of that spread thing that's floating around lately, I'm taking Carolina against the spread. Trust me, as a Ravens fiend, Ravens friend, I hate it. Yeah, it sucks. I've been there. I've been there with the Packers before. It doesn't feel great. Chad, to me, Baltimore, too much of a circus, a lot of dance and show. I guess I get what you, I mean. It starts with the quarterback. So I get what you mean for sure. But look, they've been scoring their points all season long, and if they score points on the defensive side as well, this could wind up being a blowout and I could come back with egg on my face. But give me the points and give me the under. The Washington Commanders in Houston to take on the Houston Texans. Washington obviously has to be riding high. A big emotional win just on Monday night last night. Washington obviously going to be coming in on the short week, as the Philadelphia Eagles were. I don't know whether I mentioned that when we were talking about that game, but they're going to be in on the short week. They're also on the tail end of back-to-back road games because, of course, they were in Philly last week. Washington's still a bottom 10 scoring offense in the league so far this year. The Houston Texans are riding a 4-game losing streak. They are a bottom 5 scoring offense this season. The defense has been decent. Both of these two teams, the scoring defenses have been kind of middle of the pack. So this would be a really popular, and I'm sure already is, a popular choice to take the Washington Commanders. They're just coming off of a big win. Again, a very emotional divisional win. And that kind of what plays into it for me, because like adrenaline dump and emotion dump is real. So, I mean, a game that I think they had faith that they could win, and the method by which they did, it's your emotions are at a peak because you just knocked off an undefeated team. They're a division rival to boot. It's like it's almost top of the world. And then you come out next week and you're just flat against a team that most people think you should probably beat in the Houston Texans. Certainly in that, are they the worst team in the NFL conversation? I like the Houston Texans to get the upset here. And I like the Houston Texans for a couple of reasons. Houston has not given up on this season. Whether they have aspirations of making the playoffs or not, I don't know. But they haven't given up on the season. And that's reflective in the fact that they just made a waiver claim for Eno Benjamin. Arizona, weirdly enough, just outright cut Eno Benjamin, just tossed him on waivers now that James Conner's back, which makes no sense to me because Eno was really good for them. And the Houston Texans made a claim on him. So Eno immediately steps in, I believe, as the number 2 running back on that team behind Dameon Pierce. And it's a way to lessen the workload on Dameon Pierce, keep him healthier later into the season. This is not going to be a great game by any means. But the fact that the Houston Texans haven't given up on this season, and the other big reason for me here, Nico Collins. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Nico Collins' season. Davis Mills fed him 10 targets last week. Trust me when I say, Nico Collins is probably available in your fantasy football league, and he should be on your roster because he's going to help you win a championship. Brandon Cooks doesn't want to be there. He just does not want to be there. And Dameon Pierce can't do it all. Because imagine what happens if he gets hurt. Nico Collins is the key to that offense moving forward. He's a young player. He's a dynamic wide receiver. Yes, Davis Mills is kind of limited as a quarterback, but how many times have we seen limited quarterbacks still be able to supply like top 24 fantasy wide receivers? That's what I think Nico Collins has the possibility of being. So if he's available in your fantasy league, which he's available in like 86% of Yahoo leagues, go get Nico Collins, because he is going to pay dividends down the stretch in fantasy. I'm taking the Houston Texans this week to get the upset win over the Washington Commanders. And obviously I'm going to be taking the plus 3.5 against the spread on Washington in that game as well. Obviously as the dog, or on Houston as well. Obviously as the dogs, let's take the plus 3.5. Total in the game set at 40.5. I don't think either one of these teams like the scoreboard on fire, so give me the under in this one. Under 40.5 points, even though that's such a beatable number in Houston, Washington. Let's go Houston 20, Washington. Do we get real cheeky? Actually, do we go real cheeky and go like 21-20? No, we can't, because that's 41 points. Let's go like 17-16. Like just a weird score. Houston wins, Houston covers, and give me the under on the points. Chad says, "Oh my God, put me to sleep game, but I'll take Washington. Why? They beat my Philly. Bummer, but yeah, momentum, right? It could very well be. Momentum is kind of a harsh mistress sometimes. It can be great, or again, it can, and you can just have that dump, and you come out the next week and you can't do a damn thing. That's kind of what I think is going to happen this week." Let's take a sip of tea here as well as we approach the hour mark on the stream. Obviously, won't be an hour on the actual podcast episode, but we approach the hour mark on the stream with 5 games left. And I'm going to wait till the timer hits an hour before we move on. Why? I can. All right, here we go. The Las Vegas Raiders on the road in Denver taking on Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. I believe Denver might be without Jerry Jeudy in this game, although I don't think the injury to Jeudy is long-term or significant. He just either may not play in this one or may be limited, which does limit the passing opportunities in the game as well. The Raiders riding a 3-game losing streak with a bottom 5 scoring defense in the NFL. Their defense has, again, I talked about it right at the beginning of the season. I was like, everybody's talking about the Raiders, and I don't think that defense is any better than it was last year. Turned out they're not. Their offense can do some stuff, but still kind of middle of the pack in terms of generating points. The Broncos, bottom 5 scoring offense, but a top 5 scoring defense. And a lot of the time, that's what I'll defer to in games like this. So I look at this initially and I'm like, when in doubt, take the better defense. And Denver is head and shoulders the better defense in this game. Division game. Weird stuff happens in division games. Give me the Raiders. Give me the Raiders in this spot. Maybe I'm just drunk on upset picks, but the Raiders at some point, like the Raiders aren't a good football team, but they're better than this. Like they're better than what they've shown so far this year. So give me the Raiders in a matchup like this where the Broncos are not nobody's putting up any banners or planning any parades for the Broncos with the way they've been playing this year. Division matchup, give me the dog, give me the Las Vegas Raiders on the road in Denver. Sorry, Kat had a funny comment, and I'll get to it there in a second. Give me the Raiders on the road in Denver to beat the Broncos. On the line, Denver is a 2.5-point favorite in this game, so it's less than 3. But we're going to go ahead and grab the plus 2.5 on the Raiders since I like them to win outright. Total in the game set at 41.5 points. And this is actually a total I flip-flopped on because I think originally I was kind of leaning Denver in this game. So I'm like, well, if I'm leaning on Denver to win, I should probably take the under. But since I took the Raiders, and if the Raiders are going to win this game, it's going to be on the offensive side of the football, I guess I'll take the over. So give me over 41.5 points in Las Vegas and Denver. Let's go Raiders 24, Denver 21. So Raiders win, Raiders cover, and give me the over on the 41.5 point total. This is a pick I don't expect a lot of people to follow me on, and that's okay. So, Kat, let's see. Where are we going here? Chad said a spark for Washington. Look at the Jets, right? Absolutely. Martin, Houston has a chance, but I don't know if I'll take them. Kat, you don't have to be drunk to take upset picks, Justin. Let's be real. It's true. I've been like the king of upset picks over the last couple of years. Not necessarily that I've gotten the most right, but just I think that I've taken the most. Like the last 2-3 years, it's upset picks all over the place. Martin, the Raiders are horrible on the road, very bad. You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. And having to go up to Mile High, it's not the easiest place to play. Definitely not. But I think if there's one game breaker on offense on either side here, it's probably Davante Adams. I would expect Davante to have an exceptionally good game this week, and that could be what winds up propelling the Raiders to the win. Couple of touchdowns, 130 receiving yards, something like that. A massive game from Devontae Adams. That could be enough to put them over the top. Chad, heads or tails on this Denver game, although Mr. Carr for the Raiders crying in an interview, so maybe I picked the Raiders. Kat, the teas that you've been drinking have been filled with quarter cup of rule of 4. Only a quarter? It's got to at least be up to here. All right. Let's move on here so I can get you folks to bed early enough. The Dallas Cowboys on the road in Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Dallas and Minnesota. The Vikings on a 7-game winning streak right now and are proving themselves to be one of the classes of the NFL. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if this Vikings team makes a deep run in the playoffs, maybe to the NFC title game, maybe to the Super Bowl. This Vikings team is for real. Look, I know where my allegiance lies. Like, I get it, but I gotta respect what this Vikings team has accomplished this year. The Cowboys, a top 10 scoring defense in the NFL this year. Their offense has certainly come around since Dak Prescott has been back. They are on the tail end of back-to-back road games here, having played in Green Bay last week. And boy, Mike McCarthy going to Mike McCarthy in that game. There's no reason up 2 scores that Dallas should have lost that game. Like, let's be real. Dallas should have won that game. Their coaching holds them back. Let me cover this while I say that. Their coaching holds them back. Minnesota, top 10 scoring offense in the NFL, kind of middle of the pack in terms of the scoring defense. Now, Minnesota is dealing with an injury on the offensive line, defensive line. Offensive line, I think. Christian Darrisaw. He is down with a concussion, and obviously since we know the protocols are what they are right now, and it's taking players longer to get out of concussion protocol, it's really 50-50 whether we see Christian Darrisaw in this game or not. He has had a good season, a very good season, in fact, for the Vikings. So it'll be interesting to see whether he actually plays in this game or not. I think I got to go with the Vikings here. The Vikings are the ones that have shown me the most this year, I think, of any team in the NFL. Maybe with a slight exception of the Eagles. The Eagles obviously have played incredible football up to this point. But man, I don't think anybody expected this from the Vikings, period. I think people expected the Vikings to kind of be the middling team that they've been the last couple of years, and they have not. They have found ways to win football games, whether it's on the offensive side, defensive interceptions to seal games. Minnesota's doing it all. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Vikings here. I like Minnesota at home to get the win over the Dallas Cowboys. And again, that NFC East division, it's going to be interesting down the stretch. It didn't look like it was going to be, but I think it will. So right now, Minnesota is actually taking 1.5 as a home dog. This line will not stay the same. But since right now they are a home dog, I am more than happy to take the plus 1.5 on who I genuinely think is the better team and the team that's going to win. And that's the Minnesota Vikings. So give me the Vikings plus 1.5. Total in the game set at 47.5 points. This is my favorite over of the week. Over 47.5 points in Dallas, Minnesota. These are two offenses that can put the points on the board. And I like this so much that Dallas, Minnesota over 47.5 points is my platinum pick on the totals this week. Dallas, Minnesota over 47.5. So we are going to go Minnesota 31. Excuse me. So we are going to go Minnesota 31, Dallas 27. Vikings win, Vikings cover, and give me the over, well over, on the point total. 31-27, Vikes. In chat, let's see. The Raiders were shut out at New Orleans. That team doesn't have a good defense. Cat says quarter four. Thought I was clever. Fair enough. I enjoy it. Chad says love it. Keep going. Sorry, I'll watch later. Off to a Blue Rodeo concert. Awesome. I love Blue Rodeo. Later, my friend. Thank you so much, Chad. Thank you for stopping in and enjoy your Blue Rodeo concert. That's really cool. Damn it. Now I wish I was going to a Blue Rodeo concert. All right. We have got 3 games left to talk about this week. And actually, all three of them are division games. So that's how we'll end this week. Oh, Fred Total's in the chat now saying, "Hey, you stay away with me." Don't know what that means, but welcome in. All right, the Cincinnati Bengals on the road in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers welcomed back TJ Watt last week. He didn't have an exceptional game, but just the fact that he's back, it totally changes the way that team plays defense. I think they were without Minkah Fitzpatrick last week as well. Ideally, they might get him back soon enough. And I think if you get that defense at fairly full strength, I think that defense can do some stuff. Now, what can't do some stuff is that Steelers offense. Bottom 5 scoring offense in the NFL so far this year. So obviously Pittsburgh has just struggled just across the board putting points up. The Bengals, can't really say that about them. They're a top 10 scoring offense. They are able to score their points. Defense kind of, average. They're around middle of the pack in the league so far this year. And the Bengals are coming into this game off their bye. So they are coming in well rested, ready to roll. Division matchup that means a lot to them, obviously. I'm going to have to go ahead and take Cincinnati in this one. Oh, Vikings game a stay away. I get you. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and take Cincinnati here. Division game, know each other very well. Bengals are the better football team, top to bottom. They got the better quarterback. They got the better receivers. I don't necessarily know that they have a better defense, but I think that's kind of a toss-up. But we'll go ahead and grab Cincinnati here. Bengals over Steelers in Pittsburgh. And actually, I like that so much. I'm going to make Cincinnati let's make it my gold pick straight up this week. Cincinnati over Pittsburgh, my gold pick straight up. Now, this is an interesting one because Pittsburgh is taking 4.5 points against the spread. Pittsburgh plus 4.5. Is this a beatable number? Absolutely. Like, can the Bengals cover this number? They absolutely can. Will they cover this number? Probably. But it's very tough for me to lay this much in the context of this season in a division game. Boy, that's tough. I think I have to take the points with the Steelers. I'm going to insulate myself against an upset. And if Cincinnati blows them out, they blow them out. Oops, what do you do? Should we lay it where it's under a touchdown? Probably. But, Cincinnati hasn't exactly blown me away with their results this year. So let's go ahead and take those points with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Total in this game set at 41.5. I got to take the under because Pittsburgh's just not scoring at all this year. Yes, Cincinnati is, but Pittsburgh just isn't. I think this is a low-scoring, defensive, cold AFC North matchup. So let's take under 41.5 points in Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. I actually like that so much. That's going to be my gold pick on the totals this week. Cincinnati-Pittsburgh under 41.5 points. We're going to go Cincinnati 17, Pittsburgh 14. So 17-14 Bengals. Give me the Bengals to win. Give me the points with the Steelers and give me under 41.5. Excuse me. All right, all we've got left is Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs in Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. All right. Chiefs come into this game on a 3-game winning streak. They're also obviously a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. No shock to anybody there. Defense has been kind of middle of the road. But look, you score the kind of points. I think Kansas City is maybe the only team in the NFL right now that's averaging 30 points a game or more. I think I'm correct in saying that. So obviously their offense just keeps going. Kadarius Toney made a ridiculous catch last week where he adjusted his gloves before he went up to make the catch. Absolutely incredible. So obviously we know what they can do on offense. The Chargers, we think we know what they can do on offense, but so far this season, if it hasn't been Austin Eckler, it really hasn't been much. And I totally understand because like Keenan Allen has been hurt for a lot of the season. They don't have Mike Williams. They're losing offensive linemen. They're losing defensive linemen. I get it. Obviously, I'm disappointed because the Chargers were the team that I took to come out of the AFC. So obviously I think that jam is done. So it's disappointing for me, but also it's their defense, man. They're a bottom 5 scoring defense in the NFL. Like they're not good. They have not been good this year at all on the defensive side. One thing that does go in the Chargers' favor is the fact that we probably won't see Juju Smith-Schuster in this game. He suffered a concussion in their game last week. So again, with how long it's taking players to get out of concussion protocol, a good chance we probably do not see him. But the injuries, I think, are just too much for the Chargers to kind of turn around from. Certainly in a game like this, yes, it's a division game. Yes, it's an opponent that they get up for more than anybody else. Yes, the game's at home. I mean, give me the Chiefs. Like you gotta give me the Chiefs in this matchup. Let's go Kansas City on the road in Los Angeles to get the win over the Chargers. And I like that so much. The Chiefs over Chargers going to be my bronze pick straight up this week. Chiefs beating the Chargers. Now, against the spread, the Chargers are taking 6.5 points here as a home dog. I'm going to go ahead and lay those points. Chiefs under a touchdown. I think you got to give me that. Even without Juju, it's just going to be next man up. Like, you know, Kadarius Toney's going to have 9 catches for $124 and 2 touchdowns. Like, you just know that that's the game that's coming because they're like, okay, he's not playing. We'll move him over here, move him over here. Pat Mahomes slinging the football. So you got to love it. Like, I just think this Chiefs team offensively sometimes is just unstoppable. So give me the 6.5. And I like that so much. The Chiefs minus 6.5 is my platinum pick against the spread this week. Chiefs minus 6.5, platinum pick against the spread, under a touchdown. Thank you very much. Total in the game set at 50. I got to go over. Chargers defense is awful. Chargers can still score some points. Chiefs offense is incredible. Give me the over. Over 50 points in Kansas City, Los Angeles. Let's go. Let's see. Chiefs 34, Chargers 24. So we're going to go Chiefs win, Chiefs cover. Give me the over on the points. One more game. One game left to go, and it is the Monday Night Football game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. The game is in Arizona. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, Arizona waiving Eno Benjamin. I don't agree with that move at all. I think he was good for them. The Niners offense is kind of middling. They've got weapons. They got weapons all over the place. But somehow, aside from the defense, which is a top 5 scoring defense, very good, I just don't know how you have faith in this team. This team feels very mid to co-opt the line from the kids. This team feels very mid. Like they're good. They're a very good football team. Like there's no doubt about it. But the results still kind of wind up being mid. It's very weird. They're a team that it's, I guess, a little difficult for me to kind of get a full grasp on. The offense has been all right. The scoring defense, exceptional. Arizona, it kind of goes the other way. The offense has been all right. Scoring defense has been atrocious. Bottom 5 scoring defense in the NFL, giving up a ton of points, and also now losing Zach Ertz for the season. He's done for the season with a knee injury. He's either having surgery or has already had surgery. That is a huge blow. He's their leading pass catcher from the tight end position. It's just awful. It feels like one of those situations where you kind of have to maybe consider fading them rest of season. Yeah, they got DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, they got pass receivers. And they've got receivers who are kind of like receivers who are moving up, receivers who are on the incline. Like Rondale Moore is a bigger part of the offense now than he has been for a long time. So they've got receivers on the rise, but boy, you can't just replace Zach Ertz. Not the way he's been playing. I think you got to go with the Niners in this one. What is that? Excuse me for one moment, folks. That was weird. Sorry. Very, very strange. All right. So yeah, we're gonna grab the Niners. We're gonna grab the Niners in this one for sure. San Francisco in Arizona gets the win over the Cardinals. Now on the line, Arizona is taking 8 points as a home favorite here. And look, divisional game, I got to take those 8 points. So we're definitely going to grab +8 here with Arizona, even though this defense is bad, and even though they lost like one of their biggest offensive weapons. I just can't lay 8 points. The Niners are not a team like Buffalo that I feel super, super confident in laying that many points on. So we're going to take the 8 points with Arizona. It insulates us against an upset, which is entirely possible. Like Martin just made a point in the chat. Arizona's won 11 of the last 14 against San Francisco. Oh, is this game in Mexico? Did I not realize this game was in Mexico? Really? I'm waiting for Martin or somebody else to confirm for me. Did I just miss that completely? I'm going to do a little dance while I try to figure out. Let's go to the. Is this game in Mexico? Oh, it is. It is in Mexico City. Oh my God. How did I miss that? Dear Lord. That's unfortunate. My apologies for missing that this game is actually in Mexico City. My goodness. I usually make a specific note of that. Ay. All right. Sorry about that. So in Mexico City. So neutral field. Fantastic. We'll still take the Niners to win, but give me Arizona with the points. Total in the game set at 43.5 points. I feel like they need to be advertising it better that game's in Mexico. Sorry. 43.5 points is the total here. I think I got to stick under on this one because it could be a game where the Niners defense really comes to play and the Niners defense dominates it. So give me under the 43.5 point total in San Francisco, Arizona, a game that's being played in Mexico City. I know that now. Jeez. Give me, let's go Niners 24, Arizona 18. 24-18. So Niners win, Arizona covers, and give me the under on the 43.5. It was the site of the great Rams-Chiefs game where both teams got in the 50s. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. Maybe I should change my pick to an over. Anyway, we'll stick with that. And I will apologize formally for not understanding that this game was in Mexico City. There you have it, folks. Those are your Week 11 picks, straight up against the spread and over-under from yours truly. And we're going to go over the top picks this week, platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, one more time. Straight up, platinum pick, the Buffalo Bills over the Cleveland Browns. Gold pick, Cincinnati Bengals over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Silver pick, the New York Giants over the Detroit Lions. And bronze pick, the Kansas City Chiefs over the Los Angeles Chargers. Against the spread, platinum pick, Kansas City minus 6.5. Gold pick, New York Giants minus 3. Silver pick, Carolina Panthers plus 12.5. And the bronze pick, the Buffalo Bills minus 8.5. And on the totals, platinum pick, Dallas, Minnesota over 47.5 points. Gold pick, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh under 41.5. Silver pick, Carolina and Baltimore under 43.5. And the bronze pick, the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints under 38.5 points. Ladies and gentlemen, those are your Week 11 picks. The Week 11 show is now in the books. Can I go back to back and win my pick'em pool 2 weeks in a row? Time shall tell. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, fueled as always by the incredible folks at Nerd Tees. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We will see you again for week number 12 as we careen recklessly towards the fantasy football playoffs. Oh, and before I go, hashtag sign Nico Collins. Or sign Nico Collins to your fantasy team. It's a really long hashtag. See you next week. All right. There we go. We will stop our audio recording. And the show is in the books. So, what do you think of some of those picks? I know the Raiders-Broncos pick was not popular with folks. Let's see. The Houston-Washington pick was not popular with folks. It kind of seemed like it was it. What do you think? What's the pick that you love? What's the pick that you hate? Let me know. I always love it. This part of the show has probably become one of my favorite parts of the show. Like literally just kind of chilling out for 5 minutes and just chatting with some of the folks that's in the chat. The bonus content that you don't get anywhere else. You just get on the stream. Let's see. Chad says real grass. Excellent. In the car on the way to the concert. Have a good time. Martin, after being burned by New England and the Jets last time, I took the Jets then. I'll just stick with Belichick. That's fair. I can understand that. And betting against Bill Belichick has not made a lot of people a lot of money over the years. So I can certainly understand that. I'm picturing Chad just raging at that Blue Rodeo concert. So while we're waiting for anybody else to speak up in the chat, if I can kind of hide the rest of my face, that's what the Movember mustache is looking like so far. It's coming along. I'm slow. Like I'm just slow at growing facial hair in general. So it's no shock that it's taking me this long. But I promise you by the end of this month, this thing's gonna look gnarly. Cat keeps rubbing his face. Yes, my somewhat shaven, somewhat unshaven face. Martin, I hope we win more than 8 games this week. You and me both. You and me both. Fred Total, Giants and Lions risky. It's risky either way, isn't it? Like, yeah, the Giants or the Lions have won back-to-back games, which is great, but like they're still kind of the Lions, and that defense is still bad. And again, tail end of back-to-back road games, like that just feels like a really good spot for the Giants. I just looked at your records. We're practically the same across all 3 categories. Excellent. Who is it? Somebody's having like a really down season. Not to talk about anybody else's dirty laundry, but somebody's really struggling this year. Is it Matt maybe? I think against the spread, he's really struggling. And look, I've certainly been there. It's no fun. But I think he's like in the 60, like 60 and 80 something or something against the spread, which quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised I'm not, but I just kind of latched on to dogs early and just never let them go, and it's paid off. Actually, I think the records that are in the description right now don't account for Philly's loss last night. So that'll have to be updated with like one more loss, obviously, because I took Philly to win that game big, and that certainly did not happen. Should have known better, double digits. All right. I think Gio wasn't doing so hot. Poor Moon went 4-10 last week. That's a tough one. But prior to that, he was doing great. Yeah, absolutely. Look, everybody has down weeks. Everybody has down seasons. I kind of went through my last couple of years against the spread has only I go on hot streaks, and I'm very peak and valley. So I'm kind of in a valley after last week, only going 5-9, but we're looking to get back to the peak this week. All right. That is going to do it for the live stream for the week 11 picks. Oh, Fred Total. Jerry, the better quarterback, though. Detroit, New York. Yeah, I could probably I'd probably get behind that. All right, the week 11 stream, that is going to put it in the books. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop in, check out the stream, and whether it was your first time or you're in here all the time. I appreciate you very, very much. And we will see you again, obviously, next week to have the week 12 stream. And yeah, we're getting super close to the fantasy playoffs, which I believe usually begin in like week 15 now with the extra long, the one extra week. So a couple more weeks, got to get to, man, stretching for the playoffs in a couple of these leagues. And this has been one of my worst fantasy seasons, which sucks. But hopefully we turn it around, make the playoffs in a couple of leagues, see where we're at. Thank you so much for watching the stream. We will see you again next week for week 12. Probably be streaming at this time again next week, the Tuesday evening. I like the 7 p.m. Eastern time slot. So I think that's probably when we'll be doing this again next week. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you again for week 12.